Hello everyone, this is Coding Atlas and today we're learning conditions. Let's cover Boolean logic first. Let's try to do some operations and store the result into a Boolean variable. Here we can see all the Boolean operations we can make. We can compare two numbers and see if one is greater than another or it's smaller. We can compare if it's greater or equal, if it is equal, if it is not equal. Then we can add two conditions, try to see if both are true or one of them is true. For example, here we check if b1 and b7 is true. b1 in this case is a greater than b, which is true, 5 is more than 4. And b7 in our case is c is greater than d, and it is false because 6 is not greater than 7. So we get the result false because true and false gives us false. This sign means end operation. It means that both conditions need to be true to return true, otherwise it's always false. This one is OR, it means that one of them needs to be true. If both of them are false, then it returns false. So here we have true or false, same variables here comparing, b1, b7, b1 or b7 is true. Then we have not operation, basically a sign of exclamation. We put it before the condition, and here we have not b1, b1 is true, so not true is false. It just inverses the value. If it was true, it becomes false. If it was false, it becomes true. Then we try to do something more complicated, b1 and not b7. b7 in our case is false, because c is not greater than d. Not b7 is true, because not false is true. And we do true and true, basically, so we get true. Also, we didn't cover it in the last video, but we can combine operations, arithmetical and Boolean operations, with parentheses. So for example, we can write this one here compares b1 and not b7, so b7 is false, we get true, b1 and b7 and not b7 is true, as we see from here, and it says this one or b2. b2 in our case is false, this one is true, one of them is true, it means that it returns true, because when we use OR, only one condition needs to be true, and then it returns true. Otherwise, if it's both false, it returns false. So this one will give us true. Also, we can do the same with the arithmetical operations. For example, let's write test equals to, sorry, this is int, a plus b multiplied by c minus d. So in this case, a plus b and c minus d will be the first things calculated here. A plus b is 9, c minus d is minus 1, so 9 minus 1 will get minus 9, because we multiply them. Now we can do some branching with if-else statement. It looks like this. So we have if, and here in parentheses we can give a value. Value needs to be Boolean. But instead of giving values, let's just give a condition. For example, 6 is greater than 5. This will work as it returns true. So we'll have true, and if it has true inside of the parentheses, the block of if statement will be executed over here. So we can write console.writeLine with some text. Now let's run this. It was executed. But if we change the condition and it is false inside, we run this and nothing is executed, because compiler skips this because this is false. And it goes straight to here. So if we write here a writeLine statement, look what happens. We have this, but we don't have this because this doesn't execute. If it executed, let's say this is 8, so this is true now. This executes, and then this executes. Now, what happens if we want to have one more block of code in case this is false? We write else. So look, for example, this is true, we run it. If it's executed, else is not executed. If this was false, we run it. if is not executed, but else is executed in this case. Also, if we want to add multiple conditions in case this one is false, we can write else if. Let's write it like this just for the demonstration purpose. Now look, this will execute only in the case this is false. So this will be false. Then this is true, it executes. Else doesn't execute anymore because we have a else if executing here. So we'll have only this line printed. And we see else if was executed. But if this was true, this will not execute anymore. And this also will not execute. So else if is used for more specification. We have a condition here, and it executes in the case when if is false, as you see here. Now let's show what is the difference between two if blocks and if with else if. If you write it like this, both conditions are true, but this one gets true, so this executes, this doesn't execute, as we discussed before. However, if instead of else if, we put just one more if, like this, both of them will execute because they are not depending on each other. So this will execute because this is true, then this will check the condition and it also will execute. As you see here. Actually, yeah, it says else if executed, but it's not else if, it's normal if. So you can change it. Well, you see, two ifs were executed. Also, we can use variables here and stuff. I'm just showing it with the numbers for simplifying it. Now let's try to do a project. Let's say we ask the user what age is he, and we need to print if he's over 18 or he is not. Let's try to do this. So it's a simple program. You can see how it works. We have age, we read the age, we parse the read line result, we have it as an integer, then we compare it with 18. If it's greater or equal to 18, we write you are over 18. Otherwise, we're writing you are not 18 yet. Let's see. Let's give it some value. You're over 18. Let's give it a value less than 18. You're not 18 yet. Let's give it exactly 18. You're over 18. Let's add one more detail to this program. Let's say if the user is exactly 18, we print that. Let's add one else if here. But if we add this, we need to change this condition because this will always be true and it will execute. So this never executes. So let's say only greater than 18, then here is equal to 18. Now let's try run it. Let's try it 7. You're not 18 yet. 21. You're over 18. And now let's try it exactly 18. You're exactly 18. Perfect. This was the tutorial for today. Thank you everyone for watching. See you in the next video.